Hello. For making this calla lily fire dancing flower, we're going to need a G size 4.0 millimeter crochet hook, a tapestry needle, a pair of scissors, and the color of yarn. I have 5 to choose from. The first one is by Impeccable, and the color is Lippy. The second one is by Impeccable, and the color is Butterscotch. The Impeccable yarns you can find at Michael's Arts and Crafts. They're in the United States. They're very good yarn too. Here's another Impeccable, and the color is Kelly Green. This is the Impeccable Brights, also found at Michael's, and the color is Sunny Day. And my last color, which is a red type color, made by Red Heart Super Saver, and the color is Rogue. To begin, we are going to start with a magic circle and our color Butterscotch, which is a very light yellow, and wrap around your fingers, make an X, take your hook, go under the first one and pull the second one through. I think I pulled it a little too far. I was thinking of a slip knot. And chain 1 and tighten it up just a little bit. That'll hold it down. And then chain 2. 1, 2. I like to keep my tails straight, so I pull them out so they're not twisting around my circle. Now into our circle we're going to create 13 double crochets. To make a double crochet, yarn over, take the top of the hook, go in, pull it around, come back out. You'll have 3 loops on the hook, go through 2 and go through 2. Okay, so there's 1, 2, and 3. Keep on going till you have 13, and I'll see you there. After you have 13 double crochets on your hook, let's take our little tail here and pull our circle closed, and then we can drop it down. Do not cut your tail yet. We're going to do some weaving in on it first. And come on over here to the top of the double crochet, and we're going to do a slip stitch. So we're going to go in, we're going to pull our yarn back, and then we're going to go pull it through that loop to close it up. And there we have our circle. Now we're going to chain 2, and in each stitch around we're going to place 2 half double crochets. So to make a half double crochet, yarn over, pull it in, pull up a loop. You'll have the 3 on your hook, and just pull your yarn through all 3. Kind of like a double crochet, except we're not stopping at 2, we're going all 3. So here's 1, yarn over and through, pull up a loop, and through all 3. Okay, so in our next stitch here, right here, we're going to do 2 half double crochets, So continue on. 1, 2 per stitch around, and I'll meet you at the other side. Alright, here we are at the end of the row, and you'll notice that in this chain 2 space we still can put in one more stitch, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to wrap it around and pull it through the stitch, but this time we're going to also pick up the gold or the sunny day color. So you want to bring back both of those colors through the hole just like this, and then complete your half double crochet. And then we're going to finish off to the top of the double crochet and slip stitch closed. Okay, what we're going to do next, let me bring out my finished calla lily that I already have. What we're going to do next is what I call painting with our yarn. There's no exact science on this. I was playing with this and I thought it looked so pretty to have what looked like veins in the crochet to make our flower look like as realistic as you can using our medium of yarn. Okay, so this next round we will not count stitches. What we're going to do is we're going to make it so that we have enough to go around, but we're not going to count, and you'll see what I mean as we go along here. Now sometimes we'll do just a regular half double crochet stitch. Other times we'll drop down. It's whatever you also feel like doing. I'm just kind of showing you what I did when I made this. So with our 2 colors, I'm going to go into this first one and I'm just going to do a half double crochet. Okay, now my next one I'm going to drop it down here. See where my fingernail is down here? So I'm going to drop all the way down. So I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to pick it up just as if I was making a regular half double crochet in the stitch, but this bottom loop I'm going to stretch it up some and then complete my half double crochet. Alright, now don't pay attention to the count of the stitches from the previous row. Those are just there to use as a foundation for this row of stitching. Okay, I know when I first tried it, it was such a wave like this, it was just all over the place. But that's not what we're trying to do. We're just trying to create a look. We're not trying to have exact stitching. Now if I felt on my next stitch I wanted to drop down to here, I can do that too. So I'm going to come down here and bring it and just pull that stitch all the way up and then pull it right through. I'm going to pull it over just a little bit. Now I think on my next stitch I'm going to kind of anchor it in, but if you notice I'm not picking up this stitch back here. I'm just going to go to the next one because it's not being crowded. And I'm just going to do another half double crochet. And you can kind of see how it's kind of giving a look of not exact. Okay, so as we keep working with our 2 yarns together, it seems like it wants to pull back a little, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to, this is where artistic your artistic ability is going to come out. I think you're going to have so much fun trying to do this. So just kind of go with it. This row is just you're separating the center and you're moving on out like I'm showing here. Your center was the lighter color. Now we're going to work our way out to the gold, and then the tip of it all was the red, but you wanted to incorporate the red into it as well. So we're just kind of playing with color here. Now if you wanted to do this with a different color such as blues or purples, have at it. This is what it's all about. Our creativity. I like to encourage and share all of these things. It's fun. So if you notice now, it's still flat here. You don't want it doing one of these ripple numbers. You want to maintain that flatness. So I did put one stitch there, and on the next stitch, let's see, we'll probably just come right down here and complete that, and then maybe even go back even further. You know, it's whatever you feel like you want to do. See, I just made these two come back. It's fine with me. And then we'll drop this one here. Now you notice how I'm trying to keep it flat now. You don't want to put too many stitches in here to create it a ripple. And this one I'll probably just do a regular whoops, I snagged the yarn, so let me pull that one out. Just do a regular stitch here, regular half double crochet stitch. I found that if you did a double crochet, you'll notice how there's extra loops in double crochets, so the half double crochet seems to fit the best, so it allows that look of the veins that's in our flowers. So I'm going to drop down a little bit more and pull this up, and we're getting there. And I just feel like doing a small one. I thought it was funny that this one color of yarn is called Happy or Sunny Day. Flowers love the sun. Okay, and I'm dropping around. Try to make sure you don't snag your yarn as you do this. You want to maintain all strands of the skein or of the yarn. So continue around here, and when you get here, we are going to eliminate the light yellow and stay with just the gold. So practice through here. It's not going to be an exact. Play with it and see what you can do. You'll be fine. You can even go to the center if you like. I did that on mine. See, right here. It's not an exact science, but the idea is to make it look like veins. So try that, and I'll meet you here in just a few stitches. Remember to keep it flat now. Alright, now, how did you do? You don't want it looking exactly like mine, but if it turns out that way, good. The idea is to have fun. We're just trying to paint some lines with using our yarn. Okay, so now that we've come to the end here, let's go to the top of that double crochet, and we're only going to pick up the gold yarn, and we're going to drop the yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this. We'll weave this in later, so don't worry about that right now. And for this right here, we're going to chain 2 and do a double crochet. Yeah, I'm changing stitches on you. Now this row, you can do either double crochet or half double crochet. I'm going to have you kind of change it around. You can even do a single crochet if you like. So just go around. Here I'm going to do a couple of double crochets in the same stitch. But the nice thing about this also is that you can also drop down. Okay, so here we're going to drop down to kind of give it some of that level too that you might want to do. Okay, so this is one where you want to go in that round of the circle. You can even pick up like this if you want, do like a front post. You see how that still works? But like I said, you want to make sure that your circle stays flat. You see mine's starting to ripple just a tiny bit, but it's enough to keep it flat. So this is row, let's see, 1, 2, 3, this is row 4. We've got one more row to do after this, and it's going to be a little bit different. So go ahead and continue around, and we are going to add some little depth of stitch here, maybe doubles in the same stitch, maybe a double crochet, maybe a half double crochet, whatever you feel like doing for this row. This is part of creative crochet, and the next row is going to be just as exciting as the last row we've done with the two colors. So continue around with the gold until you get to here, and we're going to join our red at that time. So I'll see you then. And remember, try to keep it as flat as possible. Alright, you can see I'm down here at the end of my row. I wanted to let you know, yes, mine is a little wavy. That's okay. If yours is a little wavy, that's okay. But if it's like really wavy, that ain't going to work. We want to try and make it so it can be as flat as possible. So we got, like we've done before, we got one more stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and, whoops, I forgot to bring the red with me. We'll go ahead and wrap it around, insert our hook, and let's bring back the red with the gold this time, and complete it with our half double crochet and slip stitch that circle closed. So let's continue on. This is the fun part. This is the very last, this is the outside row here of our calla lily. So this is going to be the same as the other one with the yellow and the light yellow, and this is what's going to help define your veins for our flower here. So go ahead and you can make them short, you can make them tall, you can bring them all the way down in there. Remember that there's no rule, there's no right or wrong, but there is, you got to try and make it as flat as possible. So remember, you don't have to go in every single stitch. If you need to skip over one, that's quite all right. We're just here trying to maintain a look. We're getting the feel for the flower and the veins that are in it. I'm having fun doing this. I hope this helps bring back your creativeness in crochet of a different type. So let's see, those two look like the same length, so we might need to go down a little bit further and bring it up. And you know, no two calla lilies doing this will ever be the same. I don't care if you're sitting there doing the exact same thing, it's just not gonna happen. So that looks pretty good, that extra vein in there. But can you see how the color just kind of makes it work around? So let's see if we can drop another one down here. You know, veins are unpredictable things. Alright, so I'm going to let you explore what you're going to do next here. But I'm going to have you go to a stopping point. I would like for you to stop approximately, let's see, the length of your finger. Does that sound good? So the length of your finger here, do not add the red and the gold. Okay, let me show you why. This will be the top of our flower, and we're going to use nothing but gold. And it's also going to have the stitching that comes down right here. So play with your red until you get to about right here, and then I'll meet you there, and we're going to stay with just the gold. Alright, this is how far I have gotten, and yes, mine is rippling, but it'll be fine as long as you can, you know, you can kind of flatten it. See, it'll be fine. Okay, because if it was a chronic ripple, then I would suggest taking it out. Alrighty, so you know, I thought of something while I was doing this. I should have done the gold first. But it's okay because we can add the red here. So what I've done is I've cut my gold. I'm just going to put it back here. We'll weave it in when we're done. So now I just got the gold to go on with. And we're going to do the same thing that we've been doing by adding the longer stitches and our little half double crochet, or if you feel like doing a double crochet. There we go. This, I thought this was the most beautiful flower when I saw it as a picture. I was wanting something that was different than just the plain white calla lily. And when I saw this, I said, that's what I would like to try. Because I like to try new things when it comes to my crafting. Sometimes the old stuff gets boring. So, as you can see, I'm still making my different sizes here. I am almost to the end, but I don't want to bore you too much. But as I'm showing you, as you keep on going on, see, I'm not paying attention to the stitching. I'm just, of the previous row, I'm just going ahead and adding more and more stitches, because basically we're going over the top of the old ones. So, okay, so we are almost here. So I'm going to give you the, we're going to reattach the red. Sorry. But if you're watching this video in a preview, my suggestion would be to go ahead and use the gold first for about 13 to 15 stitches, and then go ahead and add the red and do like I'm doing here. if you can look at this here, you can see the vein look. I think it looks really nice. And when we do end up folding it in like this, you can see how it'll curve over nicely as well. Okay, so here we are at the end. So let's add the red. And sorry if I've gotten out of camera a few times. Sometimes I guess I should stick a little X on my table here. I have this beautiful antique. This is a lawyer's desk. It's about 3 feet wide and about 5 feet long. And I got it from a building that they were going to tear down in the city by my house. And I said, oh, I would love to have it. And the guy goes, well, you haul it away, you can have it for free. And I said, thank you very much. So I took it home with me, and it's been happy ever since. Let's put it this way, I've been happy ever since. Alright, so now that we got our red attached, we are going to have some fun here. Because here we got our calla lily like this. We are going to do what is called the reverse single crochet. So after we made our slip stitch, we want to chain one. Now this is where you, if you have never done this before, you need to kind of pay attention. We're going to skip this first stitch right here. Okay, we're going to go into the second one, just like you were going to do a single crochet. And you want to pull up a loop, but you'll notice that it's all backwards when the loop that we just pulled up is actually in front. Okay, and then we're going to finish it off our single crochet and go through all those loops on the hook. Okay, so let's try it again. We have our one loop. Let me make sure I get this centered in the camera. We have our one loop right here, and then we have our single crochet. We're going this direction, so we're going to take our hook and we're going to go into that hole, and we're going to come back and take the red and the gold and bring it out to the front. Okay, now that loop that we just brought out front is actually right here closest to the hook. Okay, so this one was the one that was on the hook, and because of the way we twisted it around, now we're going to go ahead and finish it off just like it was a single crochet. And you'll see that it has like these rolls in it. So let's do it again. Go through the stitch on the circle, bring up the working yarn, and then go through all of the loops on the hook. This is where it gives like this nice decorative edge, and you wonder how in the world did they get that? Well, that's how they did it. Okay. Oh, wait a second. Oh, belay my last. Let's go back. I forgot to pull out the yeah, I make mistakes too. So let's do this. Go back to where you joined, and we're going to pick up and we're going to bring in the red only. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. This is a YouTube video and I had already started. If I go ahead and change it, it would mess my video up. So sorry about the inconvenience. Go ahead and cut your yellow, put it aside. I'm so busy talking about and thinking about that reverse single crochet. I feel guilty now. I'm so sorry. Okay, well, let's do it. We're red only now. This is the outside edge. We're going to skip the first stitch. and into the second one. You have that loop on your hook. Bring your hook down and go to the back, wrap it around, and pull that yarn up to the front, and then complete off your single crochet. Okay, let's try it again. You got your loop on your hook. Take the hook and go through the stitch and pick up the yarn and bring it back to the front, and then go through the two loops on the hook. Okay, and it takes a little practice, but I think you can do it. Okay, I've done it a few times. Let's try it again, and I'm really going to confuse you here when I get to the middle. It's only for the gold. Okay, so we got one loop on the hook. Take your hook and go through the stitch to the back. Put the yarn onto your hook and bring it up, and then take the yarn and go through the two loops on your hook. Okay, I'm sure you can get this. It does seem a little awkward at first, but I believe you can get it. So when you are about center on your yellow, flip it backwards so that the back side is facing you with all your threads and everything else. And we're going to do 1/2 double crochet just like you would regularly do. And then in your next stitch, we're going to do 1 double crochet just like you would regularly do. Now chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, in your first, okay, you skip the first stitch, so in the second stitch you want to make a slip stitch. In your next stitch we're going to do a single crochet, and in the next stitch we'll do a single crochet. Okay, so we have that little pointy part of the top of the flower. Now the stitch that you did the double crochet in, you want to do another double crochet in that same stitch, and then in the next stitch you'll do a 1/2 double crochet. Okay, now stop and then turn your work. Well, let's see, let's turn it right from there. Now we're back to doing our crab stitch. You want to pick up the next stitch, don't skip it, and bring up a loop and go through the two. Go into that stitch, pull up a loop, and go through the two. Okay, this is what you should have so far. Continue around till you get to the end, and I'll meet you there. I just have to show you. You see when you do your reverse stitch how it pulls up this yellow? I think it's so pretty, and it helps just make it more beautiful. I'm almost done. I have just a few more stitches and I will meet you there. Alright, here I'm at the end. I'm by my first one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up and draw up a loop, and I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to bring it through both of them and then pull it, and then I'll take this and weave it into the back. Now you notice how it's not totally flat anymore? That's okay. It's okay. Alright? Because when we put the stem piece in there, you're going to want it to curl back some, and just by some luck this thing is going to work just fine. So we'll be wrapping and putting a stem in there. Okay, so in the meanwhile, we have all these loose ends here. Go ahead and weave all of those in and cut them close, and we'll get back and then start on this stem piece here. Do you have as many cut tails as I do? Alrighty, this is what we have. I'm getting ready to go on to the pink. To make our little centerpiece, we're going to start off with a magic circle. So bring it around and crisscross it and bring up a piece and do like your first chain stitch. Now, most people will be doing single crochet throughout. I'm not. That's too small for yarn. So chain 2, and into the center we're going to add 8 double crochets. Okay, so there's 2. There's 3. I'll meet you when we have 8 in our magic circle. After you have the 8 on your magic circle, let's take our little tail and pull it tight. And we're going to slip stitch this closed. And chain 2. Now for our second row, we're going to do 8 double crochets again. So you're going to do 1 in each stitch. Now this thing should probably be about the thickness of your finger. So you notice that I have my finger in it as I go around in circles. It helps it to keep that circleness, and plus I have something to hold on to as I go around. When you get to number 8 here, we're going to slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet, and then we're going to chain 1. I did the double crochet in the bottom here because it's really not going to be seen. So here we are. We're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain, or that double crochet. See how I can stick my finger in there? Okay, and then chain 1. Now for the next I'm not really sure how many rows now. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For the next 5 rows, you want to do double crochets of 8. But as you go on up, you're going to want to start to decrease, so that when you get to the end, you only have 3. So after row 4, start decreasing 1, and then when you get closer up, decrease 2 if you have to. So each one of these will be double crochets, or half double crochets. So do this for 4 rows and then start decreasing, and I'll meet you after the 4 rows. Alright, this is what you should have so far. Looks like a finger cover. Okay, so what we're going to do now is start decreasing. To decrease, we're going to yarn over since we're still doing our half double crochets, we're going to have 3 on the hook. Now yarn over again and then pick up another stitch. Okay, so now you have 5 on the hook. Let's pull it through. So that will decrease it by 1 right there. Okay, and let's decrease it again. So here, pick up, yarn over, and pick up in the next stitch, and through all 5. Now we're going to do just 1 stitch, and then slip stitch to the top. Okay, you see how it's starting to go in already? So chain 1. Okay, we're going to do another decrease in those first 2 stitches, and then the rest we'll have to just half double crochet the rest of them. There's 1 and 2, so we basically have 4 stitches now. Okay, and let's slip stitch to the top. This is the fun part. There we go. And I think that'll do it. Each one of them are different. Okay, let's take our scissors. Here, cut a little bit longer thread this time. And pull it through there. Now bring your hook up from the center to the top there. And bring the yarn back down. There we go. So it all comes out through the center down there. Okay. So here's our center piece. Now we're going to lay it right here in the center of our flower. Okay. With the pointy at the top and this thing aiming up. And we're going to squeeze that bottom till it kind of overlaps a little bit. Okay. Now with the pink that you brought down, take it and wrap it around kind of tight. I got 2 got stuck there. Okay. There we go. Now with your leftover, go ahead and tie a knot. Notice how it nicely curls back. And we can open this up and say, wow. Well, we're almost done. We still have the cap that goes on the bottom to cover up the green here. So to do that, get out your green, and we're going to start with a magic circle and put 10 on your magic circle. So do that, and I'll see you in a second. I guess I really didn't specify 10 double crochets is what's needed on the hook. So go ahead and do that, and I will see you when you get to number 10. Alright, now pull your magic circle almost closed and into that top of the chain and chain 2. Now we're going to go 1 in each stitch, so we should have 10 double crochets around for the second time. Alright, slip stitch into the top of that stitch, chain 2, and around again. Another 10 double crochets in a circle. We have one more row to do for this, and that'll be enough for the cap on the bottom of this. I'm also planning on making another video for a fire dancing calla lily bud. So it'll be like the little guys trying to break out, and so that'll probably be in a second video, because I'm planning on putting these calla lilies possibly onto a basket. And I was going to have it here in my sewing room, or I should say my craft room. So we get to the end here, and we're going to slip stitch. Okay, so the last row is half double crochet, so go ahead and just chain 1 and half double crochet around, and when you get to the end, slip stitch and weave in your ends, and I'll show you how to put this thing on the flower. Alright, so here we have our opening, and here we have the bottom of our calla lily. So basically all we're going to do is pull it up onto it, and that'll be our covering here, and here's our calla lily fire dancing. I hope you enjoyed making this with me. I hope to see you again sometime. And until then,